Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to just one of those days. It is one of those days. It is that kind of gloomy, wetter than it ought to be. You know, it is here in Southern California as close as we can approximate to winter. Though it's not cold. It's cold enough for the sweatshirt, but I mean, in here, I don't even know if it's cold enough for the sweatshirt. So this is one of those days where someone would Hallmark movie it. They'd be like, I just want to curl up under a blanket and watch romantic comedies. But that's not me at all. Days like this come, and I want to wrench. But at the same time, the wrenching is in conflict with the fickle behaviors of the algorithm, which is you can't stop. You won't stop, because if you do stop, then you've stopped. The algorithm will forget you. Casey Neistat said on a podcast many moons ago, the algorithm doesn't care about quality. The algorithm cares about quantity. You just have to keep feeding it. Whatever you feed it, it will put you in some sort of rotation. Yet, after having uploaded 800 videos in 2.5 years, including a video every day between Black Friday 2022 and Thanksgiving 2023, one of the most regular comments I get on videos is, I just discovered this channel today. How have I not discovered this channel? How do you not have more viewers? And while I know that more viewers and more subscribers is not necessarily an indicative metric of success, I guess it's human nature. You just want to see growth. You don't want to see the graphs going down for whatever reason. You know, I'm worth it. So I was absolutely right. I'm already too hot for the sweatshirt. And as is a peculiarity of my genetics, my biology, whatever it might be, I get the worst allergies on these really pseudo-rainy days. So on a day like today, I had a couple options. It came from the Workbench 29, needs his wheelbase stretched. Link building is way up there in fun level for me. I love it. I love when my fingertips hurt, because instead of grabbing the pliers to grab the links, I just try to hold them in my hands. Ghost Rover still needs his front differential fixed, ring and pinion replaced. I've got a set of GRC G2 knuckles that need to go on Diablo. There's something with the bug. I could really and should really start tearing down the Falcon, because we are building up a substantially sized box of parts for the Falcon, and many of the parts coming off of the Falcon are going towards the upcoming Raptor build. I have almost all the parts for the Evil Twin. I've pretty much had all the parts for the Evil Twin build for a while, including the body. I can't do painting today. I have a good excuse for that. The weather is not conducive to painting, but I would consider all of those things to fall under the category, the classification of things that I need to do. And I think we all agree. It's wants over needs. So on a day like today, a hot cocoa sort of day, if you're into drinking hot cocoa when I think it's 53 degrees outside, hey, that's cold for us. We instead replace those needs with wants, and I would rather do something that I want to do. And to all of you AR44 owners out there, we will, is there no screws in there? Nice. We might need some fastener. Does he have them in the front? No. We might need some fastener optimization done on our good buddy Toothless here. So, if you're an AR44 owner, you want to take that AR44 to the next level, we're gonna do that today, because we want to. not because we need to. Toothless began, I believe I called the series the anti-RTR build, and we built him very inexpensively. I still take some great amount of pride in the fact that his gearbox is a Hobby Park. It's a hybrid. It's a Hobby Park, and then I replaced the plate with one from something else. All plastic gears inside of his gearbox, which is the big reason that I run 48 pitch on his spur. And he does have a slipper to a degree. It works-ish. He's light. He's quiet. He's got the long discontinued 4-pole 540 Plus from Surpass. Probably my favorite brushed motor. I love the gold ones because all we can get nowadays is this one. You can still get the gold one, and who doesn't love gold? But they're 2-pole, and the 4-pole, you can feel it. You can feel the difference. Torque. Vintage aluminum Robinson Racing pinion on there. Still uses standard hardware. So if he was the budget build, and it was sort of to prove that we could. So I made the rear shock towers. You can use whatever shock you want. I mean, I could have put big bores or GTS or whatever on here, but I didn't because I had these incisions. We've got drawers full of incisions. The carbon fiber chassis rails are inexpensive Amazon versions. I think the single most expensive component he has installed is his steering servo. No, he's got a 50 kg. That's not even his... I would say his tires. Canyon Customs on the inside, softs all the way around. So he was built as inexpensively as possible, including the radio. He's in the mid 400s, around $400 range. Tires, inserts, everything, all in. Everything on axle, of course. Why wouldn't we not? But we don't... There's absolutely nothing that says we have to restrict ourselves to that. Because whenever anybody brings up the topic of, oh, well, how much money do you have into it? Well, then you're doing it wrong. Because that doesn't matter. Coming from cycling, it's miles of smiles, my friends. You can have fun on a bike that costs $200. You can have fun on a bike that costs $3,000. And when you're riding it, you're not thinking, I'm having a disproportionately low level of fun because this bike costs significantly more than another one. That's not how it works. If it's fun and you're enjoying it, the only problem that arises is when you're not enjoying it. So, as he is economy, these are still the housings from the temporarily on extreme clearance from Horizon 10.2 Builder's Kit, which I still do not recommend on any level. Axles. It's what we're still using from the Builder's Kit because Axial is still trotting out that Builder's Kit as if it's some sort of innovation. I mean, the design of it at the time, can we see it? I don't know how well you can see it. The screw for the driver's side upper link, you have to bend a tab of a 540 motor out of the way to clear it. So when people talk about dated design, whether they know it or not, they're talking about that. You literally can't fit a 550. If you wanted to fit a Fusion in here even, you would have to raise the whole gearbox up in order to clear these links. And then even still, I think it would hit. So, we have wants over needs. And what I want is one of my favorite axles. I think the AR44, I would raise I would present the argument that the AR44 is the best axle that Axial has done. This is the new AR44 with a little trussing and whatnot on it. His front is an older AR44, so it still has C-hubs and whatnot. It's not all molded into one piece. But that's gonna be greasy and grimy. Also, that ring and pinion, you know that this ring and pinion is good because everybody has copied it. Oh, I thought I could do a sweet tap out. I'm not sure those are even axial. We're going to replace this housing for no reason other than that we want to. Other than we were making an order. The megalithics that went on and came from the Workbench 29, you got to fill that order out. If you're a person that orders from A-Main a lot, you order $99 and you get free shipping. And shipping nowadays is crippling. Shipping is crippling. So, one of my favorites, SSD Diamonds. And it's basically a swap over. And why are they your favorite, you say? I have these. Hey, good on you. I've never heard of these. Well, come along with me, if you will. How much of it will we cover in depth? I don't know. I'm feeling flexible, you know? I don't want to change. Here I am working with diffs. I always blow out the front diff. It's not a mistake that I'm documenting the build of the rear. It's a lot easier to take off. It's a lot easier to put back on. And it just seemed apropos that Toothless here get at least a part that is not Amazon or AliExpress sourced. So we're going to get him some real SSD. Okay. It's not even just the modularity. I like the Vanquish style with the third member on the back. Right? You get this nice smooth. Like it legitimately helps. Like if you look at his front, here's where we contact. So these are plastic in the middle, and then the outputs are metal. I mean, it's so good. So good. You get a little weight in the axle. You don't have to worry about flexing because we're metal out here. I mean, hey man, we're killing time on a rainy day. If you're having a hot cocoa, I wish I was with you. 33 grams. Oh, well, that'd help. 84 grams. So let's give it a more fair comparison. 60. Oh, look. If I put it there, it actually shows up. 60 grams on that. We need lockouts on this for the full deal. 88. So we're picking up an ounce, but we're really picking up more than an ounce because we already picked up an ounce. We're not here explicitly for the weight. We're here because I love these housings, and Toothless to me seemed like the guy that should get him. Well, because I didn't want to do the whole do. Oh, those are really on there. I wanted to pick somebody that already had AR44s. And honestly, at times I feel like I don't have enough AR44. I have done that to myself. We're back. That's a big Baron, and that's the beauty of these sorts of things. You will run into, and I've run into it with SSD as well. I can't say that they are not completely free of the issue where parts don't work with parts, but that has not been my experience in the past with AR44 stuff. It fits. We literally just move the parts from one to the other. And am I going to put more grease on there? You know I am. Does the safety data sheet for CRC CV joint grease say that I should wear gloves for this? It does. I don't want to. And honestly, I think my exposure levels are not that bad. Oh, this is why you keep these around, because Bearing the lead again. If you're doing something like a mullet, it's not handed. Well, I mean, the front and the rear, they basically use the same center. It's not handed, so you can flip your diff. So I got to keep them both here, so I know which way to go. I do use thread lock because we're going into metal here. And we will of course load it up with grease. And then I will do the front, which the operation is exactly the same as the rear. There's just a lot more stuff that you have to take off. This is my method and technique. We've got the paint palette, which you can see I have used for all manner of things. We give ourselves a little blue with the purple. And then, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, and yes, I actually do put some fasteners in my hand. It's a thing. These don't... Basically, if it's under an M3x8, and I'm not building beadlocks, these are little boys. I will set them by hand, because this is something that most likely I'm going to have to do once. I don't... Jake the Snake is the other set of SSD Diamonds, and I don't think I have ever had to take them apart. You know what I didn't check? I think I have to take screws back out. I was just clicking along. I have to dig in the bin. Yeah, see? Here we go, Axial. The link and shock mounts are molded in to the axle, and I need. Oh, I got one on frontward and one on backward. I'm gonna go ahead and blame the axle itself for me putting those on backwards, because that's usually the front of the you know, that's the front, but that's the back. So, I mean, I'm an idiot, but that's not in my control. You can't unbe an idiot. Then I get a guess. Oh, no, I don't. They have, are those for the cover? I think those are for the cover. Yeah, I got a guess on what length I need for the link mounts. And I have to continually make a note to myself to go on Amazon and order some link mounts, because I hate these red plastic things. Did he guess? Oh, yeah. Good to go. It's a well-made part, man. I love these. I love these axles. I'm going to forget to put some screws in for sure. Them's the risks of trying to do more than one thing at a time. I already see one that I missed. The parts we buy and the stuff that we do unnecessarily. And I mean, that's I guess that's hyperbole, because, as I mentioned in other installments, none of this is necessary. We don't need to do any of it. It's fun, though. Man, is it fun. You can develop a full-fledged obsession with toy cars. And the way I like to think of it is this. Boy, could it be worse. I mean, I could have developed an obsession with, I don't know, gambling, whiskey, hardcore narcotics. But instead, we relive our childhood and we obsess over toy cars. Golf. Ugh, I could have liked golf, I guess. That's a game of minutia. That's a game of muscle memory. And some of the only things I'm good at in life are things that require muscle memory. So I'm pretty good at horseshoes, darts, bowling. Things where you're, the entire goal of it is just to do the same thing over and over again, as identically as possible. Now I think these are element. Treat all hexes for element. Are they going to bind? I think we'll be good. We find out. We mix manufacturer with manufacturer until something doesn't work. That's the tried and true method of wrenching. I don't know. I know there's a lot of placebo effect at play, and I know that I don't have the whole thing assembled yet, but why is it so smooth? Like, it feels so smooth. Well, obviously, we don't have a ring gear installed yet. And I reject that, and I instead insert that we've made it better. It is difficult to get this thickness of grease out of this needle. Well, it's not really a needle. They call them like blunts. It's just blunt on the end. But I had to grease the portal boxes on 29, and I didn't want to take everything apart. So I just pulled the input gears out. Oh, yeah. Is it nice? I just pulled the input gears out, stuck this needle down in there, and just filled them up. That's, ladies and gentlemen, that's luxury. Slap that bad boy together. We'll see how much grease splurges out. Oh, I see the screws that I missed. Developing the feel for the control of this is, it comes over time, I guess. I don't seem to strip too much stuff out. And here's what's wild. I'm coming fresh off the heels of a couple Vanquish builds. So having leftover stuff is wild. Isn't it nice that to all of you it just looks like a momentary transition? And for me, I sneezed 27 times and then had to walk it off. If you're a person that doesn't have allergies, I mean, God bless you. It's December. It's wet. It's cold. Nothing is growing. Why am I sneezing so much? I had to also grease myself. There we go. I was like, oh no. Shims. Did it need a shim? No, it doesn't need an inside shim. They rarely do. But, ooh. Let's see here. This is very official. Yeah. It's nice. If you have binding, I know it's difficult to display it in this method, but I have had axles that upon initial assembly, you hit this and it just goes, you get that. So the fact that this just wants to, oh, you can see the grease distributing more now. Oh yeah. Is it science? No, God no. Jeez, no. Gee, no, what? No. God no. But I feel like it's indicative of something. And the beauty is, reinstallation is the reverse of disassembly. All of your fellas and right in the grease puddle. All of your jobbies and fellas are gonna fit. I like the screw head on the passenger side if I can. See, this is the stuff that I'm like, ooh, look at that. Kickstand. But do they want me to go the other way? No, it doesn't matter. It's threaded. It's threaded both ways. I'm like, who wants to watch a guy fruitlessly flail with his oversized ape hands trying to get this thing put back together? Get it in. I can't bear most of the time to use a manual driver, so I can't imagine people want to watch me flail with it for too long. We'll get the rear axle installed. I will assemble the front. This guy's threaded, but we're gonna belt and suspender it anyway. That is where a hand tool is pretty handy. What a great looking axle. Now we just have to hope we have the right screws. Yeah, see, this is kind of how the sausage is made, isn't it? Like, most people, you don't want to know. And there you go. You slap it on there. You go through the agony of squeezing, particularly with these nylon boys, squeezing those. It was a true double-edged sword. They fit so crazy tight that you feel like you want to kill yourself trying to get them in there. But then once they're in there, you have there's no slop, there's no axle play side to side, which is what we want. Everything's smooth. There's a little bit of oil missing from those shocks. If we cycle them up, we can emulsify. Yeah, it's fine. It's not in need of a rebuild or anything. It's pretty fine. Do they need to get stood up a little more? No, I could maybe go back a hole, but we're not here to mess with the handling. We're just here to unnecessarily replace parts. And we've got one Diamond Pro in, and what's in this bag over here? Oh, look at this. There we go. Instructions. I don't think I forgot any screws. No, I got those inner ones. I got those. No, we're good. Look at all the screws that are left over. Good on you, SSD. Building the VRD, other letters just thrown together, bundles of consonants. There was nothing extra left over, like nothing. Like, you need 4 E-clips, you get 4 E-clips. You need this many screws of this type, that's how many you get. I don't know if they're assuming that for none of us it's our first go. I don't know. But they don't hold your hand, that's for sure. The difference between the front and the rear being that these are little stubby boys because the C-hubs go on them. And that is even more fun, where I have to set caster angle. So I have to get both of these guys set to the same angle, etc., etc. I've got to get the... Oh, I didn't take that into consideration, did I? I'm going to find out. I'll bring you back. I'm going to put some music on here. But I'll bring you back to let you know if a regular 10-2 servo and axle adapter fits on a Diamond Pro. We may have dug a hole here, everybody.
Much later.
And I welcome you back to this epilogue of my impending mental collapse. Meaning it's either happened or we're still in the middle of it. Does the servo on axle mount, this generic servo on axle mount, which has been modified, fit on the SSD Pro axle? Yes and no. Do these cheap Amazon brass C-hubs, look at that thing pigeon-toed out. Do those fit? Yes and no. I had to install them with a little hobby hammer. It was super fun. The process that you blissfully got to miss. about 90 minutes to get this front axle housing in. And in an overwhelming application of hubris, I put an overdrive gear in the front axle. I figured it's a part. I've got the gear right here. We'll put an overdrive in it. God, I hope it didn't ruin anything, because I don't know if I have the mental fortitude to take that apart again. It was touch and go. Every time something would go in, something would fall apart. And I mean, I think that the highlight of the whole experience was, as soon as I took the housing out of I lost this. I lost the bag of hardware. So I had to source all new hardware, and a big part of the stickiest of the stickies that we experienced today was the screws. These gentlemen right here. These are M3 by 5. Whatever you do, God help you, do not try to put M3 by 6 in there. Because if you put M3 by 6 in there, you can't fit the universals in. They will hit. The little fellas, they hang in 1 millimeter. Now, I did learn 2 of them. You can use 6s. You just loosen them up, and then after the axle's in, you just tighten them down. And then you have some sort of emergency unintentional axle retention mechanism employed. I am now as trepidatious about the performance of the overdrive as anything. Toothless is not an overwhelmingly fast guy, so putting a little overdrive in the front should be fine. Oh, praise Jesus, praise Him, for it is still quiet. I had it was touch and go, because there were parts that I had to install and then take off and then put on and then take off and put on and take off, and I just eyeballed the caster angle. These brass fit so loose on the plastic housing that you can see where they've slid a little and kind of galled these up. Not the case on the SSDs. Probably would have been better to just put like an SSD aluminum or just stuck plastic on there. But we were long past that point. We were long past that point. So I feel it is necessary. It was not my intention to gather the gear and head out of doors, but we have to see if he's still. Man, he's a looker, isn't he? Joanna Gaines, she knows her mat. There's no matte overcoat on that. That's just Joanna Gaines' Magnolia Home Blackboard as it comes out of the can. It looks like I penned in the panel lines. That is great stuff. She needs to make more colors. She basically has that palette of like beiges, whites, and grays, and there's like a moss green, and that's like it. Where's the like blue? Where's the like carnelian red? Anyway, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what we have wrought, because I gotta get out of here, man. As I was wheeling out here, I thought to myself, and not existentially, mind you, we're in a crisis, but it hasn't evolved to the existential yet. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Is this part of it came from the workbench? I don't think it is. Is it a quick view of the SSD Diamond Pro? I mean, I like them. I like them enough to buy them more than once. Interesting. Any of the, there we go. Yeah, we just got we gotta clean them off a little. Any of the installation haggles and issues I had were due to the fact that, like, I had put this off because Toothless is built, and Toothless is basically done. He's got his wheels, his tires, his body, his shocks, his chassis, his powertrain, his everything. So I bought the Diamond Pro housings or Diamond housings. I've always called them Diamond Pros, whether they are or not. And I bought them on a lark. I bought the first set. Jake's set was bought on a lark as well. A little push there. Oh, there we go. We just got to grab it. So far, it's good. God, I love how he sits. He sits so nice and low. And he is a stern reminder that you can throw a ton of money at something and do well, or you can throw those housings are the second thing ever bought specifically for Toothless as a build. The body was the first, because he was on a creep. He was on a creep cab. And I thought, we're getting kind of a lot of creep cabs. So I was like, we don't even have a power wagon. Let's try it. Oh, they're so good. If this is a quick view of the Diamond Pro, that's what I call them, whether they are or not, the review is they're real good. If you've got a number of rigs in your fleet with AR44s and asterisk, if they're not fitted with a bunch of very economical Amazon bits like brass C-hubs, like the as much as I hate them, that little pop of color, the red link mounts, they bolted right on. Click clack, done. The C-hubs and my everything on axle situation is where problems arose. So I wouldn't worry too much if you're planning on mounting a setup. Oh, his throttle response is so good. That motor is so good. Still, for me, still a tough recommend. It is really difficult for me to tell people, oh yeah, you need to go out and buy one of these motors. As this motor, even Ally Express sourced, and in the 2-pole, not the 4-pole version. And a 1080 is going to set you back $80+. And that's Fusion SE territory. So he can't have a Fusion SE. That was my initial intention. He was going to run a 1200 SE. Can't do it because the skid and the placement of the links are such that it ain't going to fit. Forget a legacy Fusion. A Fusion SE won't fit. I'm in the, oh, you know what it did? We got a little bit more steering now. And who is opposed to more steering? It's not the tightest circle. I might have to recheck endpoints. We did change housing. I might be able to get a little bit more steer angle out of it. Just finding that spot to bite. Toothless has, I cannot say rapidly. Rapidly is not a term that we can apply. Has gradually transformed into, it's a driver's rig. Like, there's a lot of feel to Toothless, where the tires pick up when you're getting the side bite and when you're not. The feel of the throttle is way up there because most times brush motors don't really reward you at the very bottom end. Meanwhile, Toothless has a level of low speed control, like your ability to, right? Like the breech control right here. He has an amount of control that's up there with like Fusion Pro, but it doesn't have that excess of sledgehammery torque that a Fusion Pro has. So you get to modulate it. There's no FOC here to keep it going. You can go as slow. And it always feels like there's so much trigger left. I think that's a slider. It was indeed. Can't quite turn that sharp. It was close. He's a great one. He really is. Oh yeah, look at that. Particularly after having experienced dark thoughts. Dark thoughts, they intervene. The SSD Diamond Axle is the categorical opposite of the Red Cat Gen 9 axle. It doesn't even matter what innards are in it. Half of the innards in there are Amazon specials. The underdrive gear was a which was like $12. Still nice and quiet. He's got all of the regular hard parts from the Axial Builder's Kit axles. They're quiet. They clear everything. And because of that shape, so slidey. So him being a straight axle boy on 475s, like we talk about how big overdrive is half dig, like you're a third of the way to dig. These, like, look at the clearance. Look at it in the front right there. Because the way that pumpkin is, and because the AR44 is high pinion, there's nothing to grab in the front. His clearance is great, and your breakover is, well, that's independent. Your departure angle is just as good because there's really nothing to hang. Well, nothing hangs up. As I said, I really like them, and don't hesitate to classify them as Canyon recommended. There's a breakover spot. If I can get that rear up, there we go. There we go. He's got no fancy tools. Doesn't need fancy tools. You can hear the throttle comes, ramps up. So even in bumps, soft, smooth. He's got the sauce. But the ability to modulate it. And now, I mean, what do we do here? We spent $50-ish that we didn't need to spend. Absolutely no need. But it was a want. And I maintain. Oh! That was there. He's one of those truggy boys that you almost never have to get up and go get him. And now we're not going to hang up on stuff. We spent $50 to hang up on stuff a little bit less. Oh, that was nice. This is what you need. This is what you need. If you have a particularly arduous session of wrenching, for whatever reason, you forgot to shim your diff and you got the whole thing put together. And then you got to take the whole thing apart to put a shim in. If you've had one of those days, you got to come out and wheel. The humidity is oppressive, and the temperature is climbing. We're bordering on muggy, but what a great day it is all of a sudden. Because placebo effect be damned, I can feel it. Diamond Pros are nice. I thought they had been discontinued because after I had bought Jake's set, I went back and I looked for another set, and they were either currently unavailable. It was something like that, where like the situation of you might not be able to get these. And then I went back and looked again, and there they were. And when I saw them, I was like, yes, I know a guy. We'll put a little bit more Amazon on there. I mean, the Papa color is fine, but I feel like if those link mounts were black, it would just be a happier time to be alive. So that's what we'll call it in the thumbnail. It'll be there. This will be a quick view SSD Diamonds. if you've got an AR44, I want to say you owe it to yourself. They're so good. Like right there. Watch that rear pumpkin. Just slide it. They just slide. That, oh, perfect, right there. Augured. Nope. Slide. Is it great? It's great. It's great. All right. If you don't have an idea for a video, just enter an angry wrenching session, and then et voila. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being a Canyonite, a Canyonero, part of the Canyon community. We love having you. Perfect. I'm setting it down. The usual spiel, everybody. Like, subscribe. Please do. Comment below with any questions, comments, or concerns. If you have negative SSD Diamond Axle experience, shoot it over. If you have questions about the SSD Diamond Axle, shoot it over. If you have any other questions about Toothless in general, or like what kind of rock is that? It's mostly granite. But I also see some schist, and I see some feldspar. Definitely at his back tire right there. That's plagioclase feldspar. We've got them all. It's mostly granitic here. I was going to be a geologist. That's where I would be right now. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to this camera to you on the YouTubes. I was going to be a geologist, and then I got to a thing called trigonometry. There's a street about 25 miles away. And it's got a beautiful overpass that has full-grown trees on it. And I was like, what are the logistics of that? But every time I drive by it, I shake my fist. I shake my fist at the sky, and I go like this. I go, damn you, Euclid! Because it's Euclid Street, and Euclid was the inventor of plane trigonometry. And trigonometry, to me, does not compute. Does not compute. I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all. We find CGH because there's a calculator that does it. If I had to do the math myself, well, we wouldn't even do it. So, there you go. Anecdote, ending on an anecdote. And just like that, we'll see you next time.